podcast started by us making fun of Brent Reed. So like, if you got a roast joke of him,
I think this is a good intro though. I feel like this is going to be a pretty dense podcast.
What if we start every show with a roast of Brent joke real quick?
Yeah, this isn't really a roast. Maybe
He's our favorite.
Maybe just more of an observation. But he's like a character from Happy Days. If Happy Days happened within the Seinfeld universe. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's not really a roast. More just an observation. Just an observation. I guess from a specific angle.
I don't know why, but I pictured him as a rag and with like a waiter, like walking up with one over his shoulder.
Yes, because he's very Seinfeld coded. He could absolutely be like a waiter in the cafe, but he's a little bit too like Southern, for lack of a better word, like old timey, like hey, and how you do? But he's also really like warm and inviting. I'm getting bad at roasting people, dude. I'm just so full of love. It's Christmas time, dude. I'm in the mood for love. How are you guys feeling about the holidays?
Dude, I love Christmas.
I do too.
It's one of my favorite times of year.
Me too.
I just got a puppy.
It's the most wonderful time
for my girlfriend. And so we're doing like.
Are you crushing? Are you crushing with your girlfriend right now?
Yeah, we're.
Me
like,
too,
dude.
How good does that feel?
It feels really good.
It does feel really good
because
I think it's what we're here to do: is crush for the girlfriend, wife, whatever.
It's like doing a solid like 45 and roasted the whole time. It feels great.
Yes. Are you at a place in your life where like comedy feels so good that it is like you compare other things to it?
I think it's a funny analogy. But
no, it's interesting you pulled that because like you also said like you had taken some time off, but your love for it clearly is not wavered at all.
No, I still
which
love
is an important thing.
I still love it. Like
yes.
there's no desire to not do it again. It's more like it's like when Ricky Williams was like, dude, I'm going to take 2 years and just smoke weed and then still see if I can play running back in the NFL. Yeah. I bet I can.
You are the Ricky Williams.
That 30 for 30, I've never related more to like a pro athlete.
Yes. And weirdly, Lynn biased a little bit. I watched it and I was like, I see some people from my past. Like, like when they're like, they describe the parties he's at and like the people around him who are like kind of like corralling him away
Arsenio
from his
Hall.
success. Yeah. Josh Black actually does remind me a little bit of Arsenio
Dude,
Hall.
that's hilarious.
Like just like minute idiosyncrasies he does with his face and stuff.
That's so fun. I could see it too. He's so funny.
Yeah, Josh Black is the man.
Zach was just saying, he's like, y'all need to get him. Like
Josh Black is the man.
Yeah,
I don't know what movie he would pick. So let's talk movies. Zach picked Goodfellas.
Yep.
What did Weber pick? Can I guess?
Yes.
Shawshank Redemption.
Nope. That was one of them though.
Forrest Gump.
Nope.
What else is? Remember the Titans?
Close.
Really? It's a sports. Yeah. Rudy.
Yep.
Boom! Love it. Okay.
Nice.
Sick. Yeah. Dude. Yeah. Weber loves a feel good flick, and so many sports movies are feel good flicks.
I love Rudy too.
Rudy's. It's pretty good.
I can't
Do you think it's better than Remember the Titans? Clock's ticking.
No.
Both of them didn't have it really.
No, man, the racism pushes it over for me.
It pushes it over the.
Yeah, the stakes were higher.
Yeah, racism is like a pass blocker. Like
dude, Shane Gillis's bit on being like, how like that was just one football season. He's like, they were like, oh shit, the high school team's 4-0. Those are my brothers.
It sucked. Me and Nick did a podcast on Remember Titans, and I heard his bit and was like, man, he was better for a minute than we were for 45.
For however long.
Oh yeah, that's the thing with like being like a young dude in comedy. You're constantly comparing yourself to like headliners and being like, oh, I'll never be as good as that. If you hear something really good, for whatever reason, your instinct is like, I want to kill myself.
That's a guy.
Isn't that interesting though?
That's how I felt when I watched you the first time.
Really?
So I saw you at Good People. We were doing a show.
Okay.
And the Good People show, Chris Ivey does it.
I love Chris Ivey.
I do too. One of my boys, him and Wes Van Horn have a show coming out at Saturn. It's going to be awesome. Throwing him a little plug there.
Plug it.
But that show, downtown Birmingham is notorious for drag racing.
Really?
Yeah. There's a dude drag racing during your set.
Really?
And you just started like crowd working it, being like, damn it, I knew I shouldn't have told my uncle I was performing in Alabama.
Oh, nice.
And like
little canned line.
And just kept calling back every time.
That's
and
a good
I've seen
pull,
it stop comedians in their tracks when or like the Barons game will end and fireworks starts going off.
Yeah.
And it's like it just ruins people's sets. And you just like went through it, and then you did your whole bit on GTA. And like old bit. And so I told Reed about that.
I remember
bit.
like treading water after that moment. So but I guess from a stand-up perspective, you could objectively be like, there is value in like he got through that and then moved on to the next thing, and we just did it. You know,
it's like watching when you've done it and you see the circumstances. It's way different than being an audience member.
Yeah, you can't get, dude. Whenever I try to get inside the audience mind, I'm always like, it makes me like paralyzed to even write. You know what I mean? Because it's like, dude, like how much are you? It's just crazy. So I watched this analysis of this film in preparation for the podcast, and they were talking about how this director, when he made this movie, he kept the audience in mind. Then he went on to say, this guy on YouTube said, this is the difference with cinema, is that it requires the audience for creating the product. You have to predict the audience reaction in order to incite the correct emotion. So I kind of thought that's like comedy. You know, like it's like I've been obsessed with this idea. It's like it is the only one of the entertainment fields, because I shudder to say art, and I don't know why I have that hesitancy. But it is like movies in that way, where it's like the audience is in no way removed from it at any point. Writing happens on stage. Performance happens on stage. Yeah. If you're listening to it as a consumer, it is always a live recording, unless you're doing something alt. You know.
I mean, I totally think it's art, unless it's just not funny.
Well, while we're talking about the GTA thing, we got a few gifts for you.
You're kidding! I didn't know it was like a gift thing.
This is you animated as a GTA, just like, law-abiding citizen.
This looks like the loading screen.
Yeah, exactly.
Where did you get this? That's so funny.
We just had it created. Your chance, Willie.
Yeah, dude.
You guys, dude, I'm in the Christmas spirit, and this is really hitting different. Thank you. You see the catfish I caught this day? Did you see that online?
I probably did. I love all your
big old catfish, boy. And dude, it was so weird because I was fishing. Thank you so much. I was don't let me forget that. I was fishing, and I was fishing like topwater for bass, and they just weren't biting. And I had given up on this one cast, and I had just done the like lazy thing where you kind of let it sink real low and spin it fast. And as I was pulling it up, a cat ate my fucking bass bait. I think I had like a spinner on, swallowed the whole thing whole. It was grizzly, but anyway, story about the catfish on Instagram.
People are going to be like, how is this not the Alabama comedian talking about fishing?
I know, dude.
One of the funny things on the photo, I sent to the guy to animate it, and he sent me back, do you have any photos of him with his eyes open? I was like, I think it's funnier with his eyes closed. He's like, all right.
He was like, he had a note, like the guy who works at the shop. I'm like, dude, I picked the funniest picture. All right, you put the animation.
I'm the mind here, bro.
Yeah, dude, I'm the fucking mind freak. All right, dude, you're my pawn. Delusions of grandeur.
But the whole bit there too, I thought was so funny because your bit is about getting so high that you were stopping at stop signs and just obeying.
Yeah, that is all the like.
And so that's you, GTA, just obeying the law.
Yeah, I think that's a good little joke formulaically, right? Formulaically speaking.
I remember that joke.
It's airtight, like it's just you rattle through it. I don't know if it's good though. I don't
Dude,
like
it's
it.
You need.
I don't like it.
No, I think you should do it.
That joke and put that shit on TikTok. Boom.
You look like you're gonna be in the new GTA on that load screen. You could be a Miami character.
When are they dropping?
I'm not sure. If you post that and you're like, guys, I got some big news.
Dude, we got a big one. Yeah, I'd like to thank my manager, Dexter Scott. My voice cracked when I did it.
But no, this podcast has been cool for me because Nick will tell me a lot of comedians and tell me their bits and stuff like that. And that was the first joke he told me about you. And
really?
Then to finally sit down, and we even saw you two open up for Theo at Stand Up Live.
And that was cool because I remember we were walking in. I was like, Chance has been doing some shows with Theo. There's a good chance that he'll be here.
Yeah, that's
and
pretty
sure
cool.
enough, like you went out there, and that honestly, that night you crushed. It was so fun watching.
His shows are really fun.
It was really neat being like, I've performed with that guy.
Dude, yeah, that is cool. That is.
It was.
I know that feeling, and it's cool that it's cool. I don't think stand-up is. I don't think anything you get in life is much fun unless you get to share it with people.
Oh,
you know
exactly,
what I mean?
Man.
So that's so cool. Stand-up. There's like, there's a thing where it's like the show's ending, people are walking around the club. You're like, if you're cool, you hang out. If not, you like get the fuck out. And it's like implied. There's a fun internal logic to it. So I that's cool.
I think you're a fun Twitter follow. And
oh,
so,
yeah. Oh, no.
This is a very interesting gift.
Dude, you out Christmas me. I'm fucking sick about it. I'm Mr. Christmas.
So this is so ridiculous, but it's Paul Giamatti's eyebrow.
Dude, this is crazy. Dude. The chickens have come home to roost.
And I don't know how you picked that name on Twitter, but I think it's so damn funny. I just hope the shirt's big enough.
Yeah, my Twitter handle is Paul Giamatti's eyebrow. You know what's really funny about this? I just deactivated Twitter. You know I'm going to frame this shit, right? I'm going to put it in my home. You know, I'm a weird guy. You've gathered this about me?
Oh.
This shit's going up in my home, dude.
I love that.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. This is awesome.
And your picture's not getting framed. Sure.
Do you know,
He's going to wear that somehow.
Yeah, he's gonna wear
this
the
one's
picture.
going right above my bed so that when my girlfriend is making sweet love to me, she has to look at it.
Well, at least you're respectfully closing your eyes on the scene.
Yeah, exactly. Even in that moment, I would be respectful. Love you, baby. I don't know.
Well,
Anywho.
The next thing we got you.
No!
I don't know if you're into records.
Oh, dude.
You're
You're going to make me fucking cry, man.
Can you talk about the significance of...
Man, this is Mac Miller's Faces album, and it is my favorite project from Mac Miller. Did you know that? This is one of my favorite rap albums.
I didn't know that.
I don't know how you did, but I feel like I'm on Nardwar.
No, that's what we're going for. Redneck Nardwar.
Redneck, hillbilly
Alabama
Nardwar.
Nardwar.
Nardwar, y'all.
I love Nardwar. That's cool. You guys are cool as hell. This is great. This album came out, and me and my friend, one of my friends, who shall remain nameless, we just really fell in love with it, and we may or may not have been like really bad on drugs. And it was just very cathartic to hear someone who very clearly was at the same kind of point in his life. But what he did during that point of his life was make a pretty cool contribution to music history, and it made us maybe feel like we didn't have to become like some other people in our environment that we saw kind of engaging in the same behaviors with. This is a really important album to me, and I'm really I don't know what to say, so I'm pontificating. But thank you very much.
That's a great word.
Yeah. When Mac Miller, man, I could go on. I'm totally a guy of that generation.
Do you remember your first like Mac Miller experience?
I remember not liking him.
Really?
I didn't like his music because I'd only heard that Donald Trump song. And I thought he was. And
why disparage such a good man?
I know, and I just was like, I'm not sold. And then I remember all my friends went to a Mac Miller concert together, and I was like, I felt so left out that I was like, all right, I'm gonna give this music a chance because next time they're all going to a concert together, I'm not gonna be like the one guy who doesn't get a ticket. And then he released that album that America and Louder is on, Macadelic, and I was like, okay, I'm sold. I remember like that arc. I have this arc with many of my friendships, especially in the past when I was drinking, where we initially are two people who are about to fight at a party, and then we're both corralled into our respective pens, and then the next time we meet at a party, we like become best friends. So I have a similar experience with I guess Mac Miller.
That just makes me think of Will Foskey. Being like, he's talking about not drinking because he was just like the
Wild
worst
Bill
person
Foskey.
Well, he just said he was the worst person at a party because he would just like go up to his friends and be like, punch me in the face, dude.
No, dude, punch me.
I don't want to.
No, you have to punch me. I love Foskey.
Did you have anybody like that at your high school?
Oh yeah, my friend Kramer. I remember we went to a party one time, and this guy was out in the front yard. This Marine who was like 8 feet tall. And he with his shirt off, and he was like, "Somebody knock me the fuck out!" And apparently, we walked up, and they're like, "He's been doing this for like 45 minutes, and he's terrifying. Nobody's gonna knock this guy out. He just won't shut up. He's like having a moment." And then my friend Kramer walks up and goes, "I'll do it." I fucking hit the guy so hard. And the guy was like, "Hell yeah, thank you, brother. Thank you for hell yeah." And my friend Kramer was like very obsessed with the Marines at the time, and he was like, "You're in the Marine Corps?" And he just like asked them a million questions. And like I watched them like have a great time the rest of the night. Male friendship wins again.
That's such a fun origin story. How'd y'all meet? This dude punched me in the face.
He punched me in the
Best friends ever since.
Dude, well, I was having what some people were calling a manic depressive meltdown in the front yard of a party. Dude, this scene is wild. When the Russian army.
It reminds me of a Wes Anderson.
A little bit.
Yeah. No, it's like a Wes Anderson nightmare.
Yeah,
yes.
It really is.
Especially with the little girl, like when they start like hanging out and just kind of talking.
Yeah, it's very like the flip coin to what's
Moonrise Kingdom. It's like that.
Russian Moonrise Kingdom.
Yeah, exactly. Russian Moonrise Kingdom is so accurate.
Moon does not rise kingdom.
Sun setting. Yeah, dude, this is so wild because I never thought until I saw this movie, I never considered how many child soldiers must have fought in World War II.
Yeah.
This is in many ways, while it isn't totally an art film, it's also just kind of like a historical portrayal of, because I mean, this is Soviet era directing, so everything's got to be cleared. Think about this shit. This is what I love about Russian movies. They had to like bake in their views so deeply into the pie because it's happening in the Soviet Union, and they have to clear everything. So it also has to be like a historical telling of what actually happened. And child soldiers are certainly not something that somebody would have detected to been like, hey, why are we talking about the fact that kids were in the war? You know, can we cut that? And he must have had to really sell it, I imagine. You know what I mean?
There's so many aspects.
And he's like, I'll
movie.
make it beautiful that they were. Like, that's crazy. I just think about the director, like how he pulled this movie off. And my favorite director, Tarkovsky, was like the guy who was like, fuck you, I'm gonna go make movies in Italy. Like, this is like their dichotomy, I think, as directors. And what they both try to capture more than anything, almost to an obsessive point, is memory. And they're both Russians living in the Soviet Union creating art. What does that say? I want to maintain my memory of something before something historical. You know what I mean? This is what I love about Russian cinema. It's so fucking good. My girl's also like a total Russophile, so I don't know if that's popular to say right now, but like,
has it gotten you more into, like, have y'all been watching more?
Not together, almost
Really?
independently. Well, there's just been so much to learn. Like, you know, when you link up with somebody and you just have to like dig through like Indiana Jones in the temple, like brushing over like every little thing about their life. So we haven't gotten to this really yet, but it is cool. Something cool.
You got to ease into this.
Yeah.
This is heavy. You don't like, hey, yeah, you're not like, hey, do you want to go to Chili's and then watch the grittiest war?
Like you said, the Wes Anderson, though, it does have a lot of those shots where it's just the face.
It's so many straight-on
shots. That
is
very Wes Anderson.
Well, I think he likes a lot of French cinema. I feel like if you look at his favorite movies.
Wes Anderson favors more than anything French New Wave, right? I mean, that new one. What was the new one with Timothée Chalamet?
Yeah,
dude, he literally.
Yeah,
yes.
Now I feel dumb for acting smart. Like, oh, he's very influenced by the
French. No, in no way.
You mean that movie, The French Connection?
Let me. I'm many things, but I'm not a yum yucker. All right, I will be yucking no yums. I'm not. I hate a yum yucker. If I'm enjoying,
this sounds like
I hate a rained on parade. I hate a rain because
I'm not a yum yucker by Dr. Seuss.
I'm not a yum yucker by Dr. Seuss. So listen, feel free to comment freely on whatever it is. Like, I don't get to do this, sit around and talk about movies. This is very exciting. So just jump in.
Speaking of things from your past, though,
yeah,
I'm never gonna forget this bit because you did it so much and it got stuck in my brain that I still, every Halloween when I see rotten pumpkins on the side of the road, I just think nasty pumpkins. And so between that, I also know, too, that you have a love for dogs as well.
Oh, yeah, dude.
So.
Oh, what, dude? That's so crazy hard. Where did you get this, dude? This is a wiener dog on a hat. Find a cuter gift. I fucking dare you. I defy you.
Maybe a wiener dog wearing a hat.
Maybe a wiener dog wearing a hat. Maybe a wiener dog wearing a hat with a wiener dog on it. A Russian doll situation, if you will.
A Russian wiener.
A Russian wiener, indeed. Look at this. That's pretty hard. It kind of goes with my fit, too.
Is there a cardboard aspect? Is there a cardboard aspect in it?
There's no This is no cardboard.
Okay. There was. I was making sure. I think I might have taken it out.
Oh, I actually don't mind the cardboard insert.
Okay.
I'll wear the cardboard insert one time because it adds structure to the hat. I like a hat with some structure. Dusty Slay can agree.
Sloppy
Dusty Slay can attest to this. Dusty Slay is a man who likes a hat with some structure.
Yeah, he does wear a lot of
structured hats.
Yep.
Exactly. He's a man that likes structure.
And I like the structure provides.
I would have called them trucker hats.
You got to get
structure
it out of
hats is so
structure. Yeah. It's
so
a structure hat.
That's like a classy way to say it.
Yeah, it is.
Well, a construction hat is arguably the most structured hat.
That's true. Damn,
I mean, yeah.
dropping some knowledge.
Yeah, we're getting down to the bottom of some things here.
Yeah.
I could do this all day. This is where I struggle with in real life because you know what I mean. I want to have this level of conversation with like strangers
all the time.
Oh yeah,
like people at the gas station. What's great about the gas station is a lot of people at the gas station are also like that, and we'll sit and go. So I find myself hanging out at a lot of gas stations as of late. I also live in South Nashville, so it helps.
My favorite part of the gas station is the weird relationship you have with the guy that works behind the counter at the one that's like closest to your house.
Oh yeah.
Because I go in there like for like random shit all the time.
Anybody like they see the worst in you, don't they? Gas station. Nobody knows more about your dark subconscious than a gas station attendant.
I'm wearing like house slippers and getting yoo-hoo at like 11:30.
It's like this guy is depressed.
Like,
I feel sorry for him working the midnight shift.
Or alternatively, he's like, oh shit, this guy's getting shit together. Yeah, and then the flip is like you're like this guy works at a gas station. You're there fucking buying Slim Jims and hot Cheetos at 3 a.m.
Well, Chance, the last thing we got for you
is this. Oh my God, we're still in the segment. We are still in the gift segment.
Well, we're still talking other movies, more normal movies, more American movies.
Is this a Hobbit hole?
That's a Hobbit home Christmas ornament. I love Lord of the Rings.
Snap me out of it. You love Lord of the Rings?
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
We grew up watching that, but
I wish I had picked Lord of the Rings now. I apologize.
No, it's fine. We actually did Fellowship with some friends a few.
Do you think it's the best one?
I do.
Fellowship, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like 1 and 3 are the best. Kind of Star Wars new series-esque.
One, I was telling them, it reminds me
the
a lot
middle
of The
one was
Hobbit.
like very war-oriented. What?
The one in general reminds me a lot of The Hobbit.
Yeah.
Because it's similar, like they start in the Shire.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, where do we go next? Where it's the elf, Rivendell. We go to Rivendell. Then we're in a cave.
Yeah.
Dealing with shit.
Yes.
Then we're like it's similar flow, and so I love The Hobbit. So I just love one.
I love 1 too. You know why? Because in 1 we hear that beginning refrain with the music. It's like woodwinds. It's like do 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 do. And then in 3 at the very end we hear it again with violins when Aragorn is bowing to the Hobbit.
So it's just the music we're tricked
I
by.
love the music in Lord of the Rings. It makes me cry to hear it. It's so funny, by the way, to have this crazy Russian war movie playing and just talk about Lord of the Rings. This in and of itself is probably the greatest bit we've pulled off. The art of the deal.
It's so sad what's happening.
Dude, it's wild.
It is sad, but how awesome is
The
Middle
Shire
Earth being
is so
saved?
cool.
Dude, yeah, I'm like thinking about the Shire, and meanwhile we're in the middle
We're
of
trying to balance it.
Belorussia, I think. Belarus is where they're
This kid's boots.
This kid, if you can't see this kid, his foot is falling out of his boot.
Oh, when they
And it's
make
cold
him,
out.
I have a funny story.
Go
When
ahead.
they make him give up his boot, it just took me back. When I played basketball in high school, I didn't play that much, but when I played, there was a time that one of our starters forgot his shoes, and the coach was just like, all right, who wears the size this? And my buddy, like, I think we didn't have the same size, so they just skipped over me, and then my buddy just wearing socks the whole game, just sitting on the bench like, this is bullshit.
Pissed off, dude.
Like, I didn't think I was gonna play, but now I'm so mad.
That's the cold reality of it. He was never going to play either way, but just to be further humiliated by sitting there in your socks like an infant. Yeah, that's pretty
The
good.
ironic part is I forgot my warm-up top, so I'm sitting here in my jersey.
Yeah, that's really fun. Oh, dude. Okay, so in the film, are we supposed to be giving like an update on what's going on right now?
I mean, whatever, dude.
But I mean, this is so wild that all these scenes where everyone's like, I mean, there's no way they were actually standing like that. Like, it's so theatrical. Like the women waving bye to them as they go off from war, in all the matching black outfits. It's like it's deeply historically accurate while also being like mystical and dreamlike. But that's how memory actually is. That's the point. It is literally the purpose of the cinematography. If the purpose of all of it is to capture what memory is actually like. Also, what's interesting about this is the audio. If you listen, the audio is
the audio is great. Like where he goes deaf. And,
yes.
Dude, it's scary.
It's disorienting as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
You know why? Because what he's trying to convey, and keep in mind a lot of this is from a YouTube video, but what he's
and it might be now too.
But what he'll have in situations, he'll play like loud audio of like while a really traumatic thing is happening, like when he sees his father surrounded by the village and they all know it's his fault and he's feeling this incredible guilt. What he's trying to capture is the memory of guilt. So their chattering fades to the background and all he's hearing is his father's animated corpse in that moment being like, I told you not to dig. Which is what happens at the beginning. He finds, I think...
He thinks he, like, caused the Nazi invasion, right?
Yeah, because they find the guns.
But he didn't.
He didn't, but that is the guilt that you feel.
Oh, yeah, especially when you're a little kid. Like, I can't believe when that charred up guy was like, I told you not to do it. It was like, God, you're such a dick.
These are your last words?
That's his father.
It's his father.
Yes.
I thought it was just his friend.
It's his father.
I just know some old village guy.
This is some crazy Russian magic, dude. Then he sees her like this. Like, look at what is going on here.
But what you're talking about, the mysticism, I saw it compared to kind of like Apocalypse Now. Same type of thing. We're trying to give you that feeling with just like the
and
just
then
how crazy
when
it
we
was.
first see the girl, she is a cherub to him, literally, in a field. You know the rain scene?
Oh, yeah.
When the rain's falling? Dude, that shit made me cry.
But then she ends up looking like you.
At the dude, that's how I feel right now.
You need it. We'll put it on. We'll put it on.
I just drove from Chattanooga, and that's how I feel. That's how I feel driving in the night. Like Grimes. Do you know the artist Grimes?
I hate driving at night.
Yeah, yeah, I like it. I hate driving in the snow and the rain, but I love driving at night. You have bad vision?
Yeah, it makes me nervous. I have narcolepsy.
You buried the lead. Narcolepsy as a driver, as a motorist.
Yeah.
How does that feel? That can't be very comfortable.
I
don't feel comfortable knowing you're on the road.
It's worse during the day than it is at night. Really? To be honest, I like in the afternoon when it's like real warm, the sun's warm, I get cozy, and all of a sudden it's like. But
oh, dude, I know that feeling though of a midday nap.
Yeah, and I've eaten a lot at lunch.
Ooh,
yeah, that's when it's real tough.
Narcolepsy is kind of just like you're an old guy. You know what I mean? Like,
he's just 80 now.
It sounds kind of nice. Yeah.
So, anyways, back to Lord of the Rings,
dude. It's a story that it is at its because she looks so beautiful there. It's at its core about friendship, but if you dissect every character in the pantheon, it's like a character trait unto itself. You know what I mean? Like Aragorn's story could be reduced to like.
I thought we were talking about this.
No. Responsibility is Aragorn. The realization of responsibility, running from who you are and becoming the person you're supposed to be. I mean, dude, Gandalf is about Gandalf is about being old, dude. Like Gandalf is about like. You know what Gandalf does at the end of his days is after he's seen everything else.
He smokes a pipe.
He smokes a pipe and he finds like the most childlike. It's about being a grandfather. He's like he finds the most innocent people in the world and decides to spend as much time as he can with them in between his duties. You know what I mean? He's like that's the way. It's all in Lord of the Rings. He's like the thing I admire most about the hobbits is their very simple character traits you'd find in any public library or whatever. You know that's his message. And then, pick anybody. We could dive into it. I mean, it's literally that fucking good. It's just so, when you have that much source material, the character development is going to inherently be, like, crazy. It's just up to the director to include it or not, and that is Peter Jackson's genius.
Yeah, I think what spurred me to get that was I saw, like, you made a Facebook post, like, 10 years ago where you're like, Lord of the Rings, Fellowship, like, 10 out of 10 movie.
10 out of 10 movie.
Does it still hold up? Yeah.
I
think you said that it holds up.
It holds up. I am like, I'm really excited to like watch it with my girlfriend.
What's your favorite character arc in Lord of the Rings? You were just kind of talking about a couple of them.
As a child, it was Aragorn. It's just every young man thinks he's the coolest motherfucker in the world. When I was drinking, Boromir.
I do relate to the villains too much sometimes.
I do relate. I relate to Boromir's struggle.
But he's conflicted. He's most conflicted.
Is the most like a character in a Russian novel because the men in Russian novels are deeply troubled people. deeply troubled people who have to overcome this. And in his last moment, it's a story about redemption, man. It's about a guy being tempted as hard as he possibly could, and at the very end, he did the right thing.
Oh, I know. I'm balling during all that,
dude. He at the very end, when it counted most, his true character shows. Boromir rules. Don't get it twisted. But the character I'm now most obsessed with is Frodo.
I'm a Sam guy, but Frodo's great.
Their relationship, their friendship is so powerful to me. Having many friends who've struggled with addiction, and having many friends who've come out the other side, and when it counted most, the thing that saved them is what? Sam.
Yeah.
I mean, what does that say?
Being able to lean on other people.
What does that say? Lean on. Oh, dude, I'm about to cry thinking about it, dude. It's very good. Very good stuff in Lord of the Rings. But yeah, I think now as an adult and as I get older, even in this moment, as I was talking about Gandalf, I'm very into like the idea of coaching right now. Like my favorite thing to do at open mics is to like kind of like adopt this like pseudo coaching self-aware thing, but that also in effect works.
Yeah, you're just getting closer to being a grandpa, being like Gandalf.
Dude, you're Gandalf. I'm fucking Gandalf. I'm grandpa. I'm crazy guy at the bus stop. Like that's where this is going.
Your chance
I'm
to
so
gray.
excited.
I don't want to kill your Christmas spirit. I know you said you're Mr. Christmas, but we've been asking our guests like, when did you find out that Santa wasn't real? Or like, how is there a funny story there?
It was an inconsistency with the wrapping paper.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
So
this isn't from the North Pole.
Yeah, I had called the retailer, and then I called the factory supply. I went to the court. No. I got some presents that were wrapped in like a purple Disney wrapping paper. And then this is already at a time when I'm most susceptible.
I think I see where this is going.
And then later, my friends, like family friends, used to come over for Christmas, and my parents would give them gifts. And my friend, I think Ethan, got a present that was wrapped in the same purple. It was clearly just like there's like, oh, we forgot to get him gifts. Throw some shit. They're not thinking I'm like in the shadows, like watching. Like I'm just.
I know that paper.
I'm like Jake Gyllenhaal in Zodiac with like papers all over the ground.
I was thinking Nightcrawler.
I was too.
Yeah.
I even did the camera.
I mean, hey, same role.
Yeah.
And also Prisoners, same role in a way. You seen Prisoners?
Oh yeah, it's
Dude,
a great movie.
Rips. That movie's about. I'm very into like male responsibility right now.
We need some role models.
I'm turning 30. I gotta get my shit together. But
there's just Joe Rogan out there. You
yeah.
know?
Well, we're talking about wrapping paper, and then that's when I was like, oh, this is the Zodiac, yeah, or whatever. That's how I figured out there was the wrapping paper thing was a.
How good were these pyrotechnics for 1985?
The house burning down at the end with all the people inside, the villagers. Did you see the peasants burn? My God.
They threw a little baby in there.
Dude.
When the kid got out and then they chunked him back in through a window just like that.
Yeah, that's weird.
So the scene we're talking about for the listener at home, at the very end of the movie, our protagonist, who's a child, who is a Belarusian fighting in World War II, gets wrapped up with the Nazis, kind of Indiana Jones style, and gets.
That's such a way.
They're both fun tales.
Yeah. And then towards the end of the movie, and we'll fill with exposition in between, but the arc is that at the very end, he meets a young girl, and she also gets separate. They get separated. At the end, while the boy's alone on his journey, he ends up at this like farmhouse where all these Nazis are like corralling Belarusian peasants into a house and then setting it ablaze. The effect I think of is like how perfectly can we capture a child's memory of what the horrors of war? You know what I mean? It's pretty intense, but it's also just like this movie for that reason is on lists with movies like Cannibal Holocaust and things like this, like shock value movies and movies that are like most disturbing movie list BuzzFeed. This finds its way on there, but upon watching it, you realize that it is so much more than that.
I saw that, and I was expecting it to be worse. And then when it got to the corralling scene and just them taking that whole town and killing them, it was like, okay, I get why.
But you're simultaneously realizing how it serves the narrative and the art of the movie. Isn't that so cool?
No, it's great.
That's
even
so cool.
rewatching it right now, like you're talking about the innocence. Like, we were talking about when they're taking the group photo, and that mirrors the ending when he takes a group photo with the Nazis.
Yes.
And the girl, he sees this girl. They're both innocent. They just want to love each other. Then afterwards, she's been gang raped by the Nazis.
With the whistle.
Yeah.
Blowing the whistle. Woo. Credits. Haunting. This is a child plucked from his fucking village, and he dragged to war, and he thinks it's his fault. And then this is how he sees love at the beginning. Women, maybe in general. Who knows, archetypically speaking. And then at the end, we see how war affects his vision of women.
How much time had passed from start to end?
There's no telling, man. This whole thing feels like a fucking dream.
Oh, it's
you know what I mean? It's timeless.
Well, he looks like he's aged 100 years.
But it feels grueling, too.
Yeah, it does.
Because you know the scene when they're just like in the field and being shot at? That scene is grueling. And you never see their
live rounds?
Did they?
Oh, yeah. I saw that, too. They, like, killed that cow, too.
That cow died, dog.
Wait.
It's I don't know if this is true, but it said
is
the
this
kid,
research of the film?
When I was researching, it said the
You
director.
research?
Oh,
Little
yeah.
research.
Oh, I love research.
The director said
I'm in
that
the research and development department. We haven't
R&D.
crossed paths. It's nice to meet you. I'm Chance Willie.
Yeah,
I'm new here.
You're doing great.
Continue. Thank you.
Yeah. Welcome to the show.
But the director said his main challenge was worried about breaking the kid, just putting him through too much.
His hair went gray.
Yeah.
His hair legitimately turned gray.
I mean, they come at
Kubrick.
They come at David O.
Oh,
Russell.
yeah.
This shit's crazy.
There you are.
That is me. Oh my god. Dude,
just for like a split second.
That is very Smeagol-like, though. To go back to Lord of the Rings, what does Smeagol represent?
Definitely addiction, I think.
Addiction.
People who do cool voices.
To keep it on the Russian theme, Dostoevsky, you familiar? Russian author?
Yes.
Okay, he wrote this thing called The Underground Man, and it's like a guy it's just literally about like the psychology of like a nasty motherfucker who just like thinks the world is out to get him. Just a regular middle, like lower management type, just like a nasty, like a restaurant manager you may have had before. You know what I mean? Just anybody out in the world. And how, but it's called The Underground Man. And it's like the archetype of a person who just like actively decides to continue living in misery. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and that is very like Gollum. Is like almost like Gollum is like, in terms of character analysis, it's like the least relatable because it's so archetypical. He's a creature. He's not a man, and therefore he leaves the world of relatable character analysis. You know what I mean? Same with Smaug. You can't relate to Smaug, but you
once it started talking, it was like
because Smaug is the direct personification of like greed.
Yeah.
Gollum is like the direct personification of like addiction because you cease to be human. That's what people say about addiction, right?
Yeah.
So in terms of character writing, what does that say? We write him like a creature. Brilliant. Tolkien, man. But I mean, he wrote like 8 languages. Of course, the character shit he was like a guy probably so brilliant that he was having conversations and like view it from every angle as it's happening in real time. View himself having the conversation, simultaneously writing about it in his head. Genius is like, if you could live in their head for a moment, like in the head of a guy like Tolkien or this guy who's like, zoom in on the pelican, I need this shot. It would be hell to inhabit their minds for too long, you know? That's why they like have to get it onto film. They're like possessed.
Same thing what you're talking about with Kubrick. It's like those people, they're off, but it works. It's like where they're off normally, it's like it works perfect for being a director.
Kubrick's my favorite director. And
what are your favorite Kubrick movies? Because I'm a big fan.
Shining, maybe my favorite movie of all time. Because my mother also
loves it. One of the best horrors.
It's one I can watch with my mother, and we were watching 2 different movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's another movie about addiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never thought about that. I have a different theory on it, but that's very interesting. I like that one, of course, but it's almost like the Beatles discussion where like I remove it and then I talk about the rest of them. I think my favorite is A Clockwork Orange because it's the one that is the least emotional for me to watch and the one I can get most into like the cryptic shit of Clockwork Orange does not point to like the same conclusions of The Shining, and that's what I like about movies.
Zach guessed that you would have done Clockwork Orange.
Yeah,
dude. I was so cringe when I was a teenager. I almost got a tattoo of like that bowler hat with the eyeball.
Oh yeah, that'd be bad.
Obsessed with it. I was obsessed with it. Well, I watched the movie and then I read the book, and of course, if you're young, you start doing research.
You want a tattoo? That's just the next one.
And I learned that Kubrick, like she's doing the Charleston. It's like an America thing. It's like a commentary on the West right now.
Oh no, I thought that same thing. Nick kind of
I even told him the pacing and some of this stuff reminded me of a Western, but like a war Western.
How cool is that though? A guy in the Soviet Union drawing from like 20s like culture in America to say something about the conditions of war in Russia. Like, come on. This is shit I like about movies. That's why I like Kubrick, you know. To extrapolate on the point I was making, that when you get into Clockwork Orange on like that level where you're like going Zodiac mode, it's just like, oh, look at all these cool like Nazi war references. Like, this is just like it's like solving a puzzle, as opposed to like Kubrick like is like looking at this like insane painting where you're like, everything you realize about the next thing is like, oh my God, is he saying this? And there's just this thought loop, and I get stuck.
Kubrick's the best like director to watch a movie and like do research. You can do 10 hours of research and still not really know what happened.
I'm so ADHD. I do shit like that all the time. Herring, blue herring.
The blue squirrel. The blue heron is an Egyptian in the Egyptian Book of the Dead. It's a sign of transformation and transition.
Oh,
yeah. They also nest in Birchwood, Tennessee, right up the Highway 58, where I'm from.
So I didn't see him hurt his ankle.
Yeah, I didn't.
He just is on this, and then he's like running the next scene. It's not a big deal, but I just was like, But maybe that's just the shitty boot.
Look at this fit, though. The fit's crazy.
I thought it was more about the passing of time, too. That like he just like
you could just roll your ankle somewhere.
Yeah.
Or maybe what we're led to believe by the heron being like, transition is brought on by injury. Like it's your interaction with the real world. Like he looks like a little bit of a young man now, doesn't he?
Yeah.
With that limp. I remember the first time I broke a bone, I straightened up a little bit. You know what I mean?
You got any funny stories breaking a bone or anything?
Boy, do I. Only bones I've broken in my life are from fights. I broke this one right here from hitting somebody, and I broke my jaw from getting hit. I mean, how more symbolic does it need to get, you know? Than God being
eye
like,
for an eye a little
stop being so angry, young man. You know what I mean? So, but I was at a bar one time, right? And this is like post-college. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm going to open mics, like at the very beginning. I'm drinking constantly. It's my friend Zoe's birthday. And at the time, she's dating my friend Will. And we're out together drinking at the bar where I went to college. And I'm graduated, if that tells you. And then, yeah. So I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And then I go in to the bar. We hang out for a little bit. She comes up to me. She's like, that guy at the bar has been saying like creepy shit to me all night, making me feel weird. Just like, in no way implying I should do anything. Just like literally as a friend being like, God, I'm just like so annoyed. And then I'm like drunk. So I'm like, I got this shit. Don't worry. And she's like, what? Like I can feel her being like, what are you doing? As I'm walking away, I'm like, I got this shit. And she's like, there's nothing to get. And then I walk up to him. He turns around. He's got a beer in his hand. And I just knocked the beer out of his hand. And there's no memory in between the moment I'm knocking the beer out of his hand and then his hand hitting my jaw. Like the hardest I've ever been punched, dude. Like you have no idea. Like it felt like when I was a kid, I like smacked into a basketball goal when I was like running full stop. It was like that. And I got a dead tooth from it. And it was like the reliving that. It was like, gong! And then the guy like, I did not get knocked out, but he broke my fucking jaw. Like craziest, like perfect hit.
Were you like wired up?
Dude.
Like Kanye?
6 weeks. Yeah, Kanye. And I had to quit doing open mics. And I wrote a lot. And I watched Always Sunny in Philadelphia because it was like when I was in high school, I like took pills and watched that a lot. So whenever I'm on surgery and I have to take pills, I always find myself watching Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It's best enjoyed on
Rob
Oxycontin.
Thomas Sinbad episode.
Dude, it's perfect. That when you're in like a dreamlike stupor is the best way to watch that episode. Like there's no better way to watch Always Sunny in Philadelphia than being on Percocet. It's like you get it on like a Kubrick level. You're like, oh yeah, yes. But and then I couldn't do open mics for 6 weeks. Jaw wired shut. I just like, that's the craziest feeling is like waking up from surgery. Like you go under in pain.
Like, I can't
and then
go to an open
and then you
mic.
wake up and you're like, it's a crazy feeling. And now you're angry. I get angry when I wake up at the hospital. And then
I've never been happy.
Literally, I'm like, I frank out, dude. I'm fucking, dude.
Just turn into Bruce Banner.
Because once you wake up at the hospital, like you're just a guy on Percocet who's like in pain, and that is like the most volatile man on the planet. You know what I mean? And I really turn into that guy when I wake up at the hospital. But then I had to have my jaw wired shut for 6 weeks. Couldn't eat shit. Had to like. I would like still try to hang out and like drink. It was like, it was so sad. And then I got that shit taken out and I thought they put me under, and it literally was just like me sitting here in a dentist chair and a guy with a screwdriver, like a Phillips head screwdriver, just pressing down with all his weight that you use to, and just ripping the shit out of my jaw. And then when I ate at CC's Pizza. First meal I got, I was like, CC's Pizza. I'm
treat myself.
Eating 20 plates. It hurt so bad. I was like, I am Kanye West. I'm going back to open mics. Yeah. I'm back, bitch.
The king of these streets.
I get back and nobody remembers who I am. And they're just like, I'm like, don't you remember? I was like, I was the prodigal. I was the guy. I'm Rocky.
I'm next.
I'm Rocky. And they're like, what? Who are you? You're in 5 or 6 people. Yeah, that's my breaking a bone story. And when I was in high school, I fought my friend Chris because we used to just fight each other. We watched Fight Club again. Man of a certain age.
No, Fight Club.
Yeah,
we acted out.
Fight Club is everyone's favorite movie at like 17, probably.
It might still be if you put me under hypnosis.
I still like it.
If you put me under hypnosis and asked me what my favorite movie would be, I'd be like Donnie Darko. You know what I mean? If you spoke to my deep soul, I don't know. Yeah. I'm not no one's liable for what they actually like if you go under hypnosis.
No, I've done a whole podcast of just give an illusion of these are the movies I like.
What's something you would only admit to doing, or something you like under hypnosis? Yeah. I don't like the term guilty pleasure. I really don't. But under hypnosis, what would come out?
Oh man, I like Lizzo.
Yep.
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
Let it hang out, baby. That's the message of Lizzo. Let it hang out. Live out the message of Lizzo and watch your life improve.
Dude,
Next.
That hurt.
I don't know. Whenever I got my wisdom teeth taken out, my parents just said I was really mean.
Yeah.
Anger.
So, yeah.
Yes, dude. Yes, me too. Same. Yeah, absolutely same. So then the next time, they also took out one of my wisdom teeth, and then I had to go back because the hardware they put in my jaw got infected, and pus was coming out of my fucking jaw into my mouth.
Why did I have to confess something and y'all didn't confess anything?
I was glad he let me off the hook.
I don't know. There's not a lot I'd be afraid to admit I like, but maybe more the ranking of the hierarchy. Like what do I actually prioritize? Like would be like if I was under hypnosis, I don't know that I would like. If it was like a gun to your head Joker situation and it was like my mom or video games, I don't know. Under hypnosis, I'm not sure what I would do. Does that, you know what I mean?
How crazy is this scene?
Because I think internally, I'm trying to say my priorities are fucked up. This is crazy. They're going through the mud, which he has to do earlier. Watch.
This is probably the second worst scene.
But this whole bog, or what do you call this?
Yeah, they said the bog. He's gone deaf. He led me in the bog. I thought that was hilarious.
Did you guys see The Green Knight, the A24 medieval
I've
banger?
I heard about it.
Dude, okay, the shots in it reminded me of this movie when I saw it.
Did you like the movie?
I loved it. I love any A24 occult horror banger. I'm all in. The Witch, Lighthouse, Midsommar. I love it all. Give it to me. Cram more of it. Crank them out like you crank out Star Wars content, and give me more of that shit. I like the one that was like. There's like a one girl's name. There was like one word and then a comma and then like becoming Lilith, or something like that. And I like that shit though.
Have you seen Under the Silver Lake?
Yeah, I liked that one. That's Brent Reed.
Yeah. Andrew Garfield's in it.
Yeah.
But that movie.
You had to remember the title card. But that's Brent Reed, 100%. The guy in Under the Silver Lake.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. You're gonna have to dig for that roast. That's going to be a hard Instagram clip, but you can find all that.
We're just going to have clips of just all our guests roasting.
Is there a clip? Is there a clip channel? I think I've seen a clip channel.
Oh, yeah.
We've done a few clips.
We got a little Insta.
Cool.
We're the whole operation, so we're a little slow.
Yeah, you're
looking at it.
You're looking at IT.
Yeah, dude. I'm hanging out
editing.
I'm research and development.
Yeah,
We've been over this,
From now on.
Well, you are too.
Yeah.
You're like 8 departments.
We wear a lot of hats.
Yeah.
You're many things to many people.
I love that you hang the ornament right there, by the way.
I love this, man. I'm going back to, and I'm going to show my girl this stuff. She's going to be floored. We've been doing like full Christmas, like going full Santa.
How great is that?
It's my favorite feeling.
When was your first, what was the first gift you gave someone that you were like, oh, this is where it's at?
I gave my mom I'm sorry, I'm getting lit up right now. Let me mute this. Yes.
You can do whatever if you need to respond.
Patreon, whatever.
Yeah.
You've been deactivated. No, I got my mom a copy of her favorite book, Gone with the Wind, but like an Easton Press edition.
Oh, wow.
And then I wrote her a poem inside and slid it in.
That's a classy move.
Yeah.
And then now I do that every year. I get her like a really nice leather-bound book, and I write a poem.
That's awesome.
And then I give that to her. My gift is my song, and this one's for you. And then I'm like, bitch, you can tell everybody this is your song. No, I shouldn't have said bitch. I'm sorry.
Sorry, Mom.
Yeah, sorry. I just, me and my
That's
mom
so
are like
sweet.
Best friends, and we talk like sassy.
That is awesome.
Just two cats.
Yeah, I love my mom so much. But that was the first one. And then now she's like creating a bookshelf with all these books. So now every time I go home for Christmas, it's like I see this bookshelf growing, and then like I get to like relive the feeling every year.
My dad always says that's pretty much all he wants. Pretty much a book and just inscribing it.
Something. That's smart. Your dad is a cool guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a cool dad. Goes a long way in my book, man. I had a very cool dad. My dad was like. He was so cool. He was like, my friends would just always be like, oh my God, your dad's so cool. And like, all the lost.
Did he hang out with you guys?
My dad would take in strays,
Yeah.
He was a stray with my guy friends. He was very like, he was come to all the wrestling matches. And then he would like work the door. He would like work the gate on Friday night at football games.
I like that you have guns right now.
Yeah, he would do it, and he would like him and like another like wrestling dad would like work the gate at football games, and it was very like he was a cool dad, you know what I mean? Yeah. At the same time, like weirdly into like 60s television and baseball, like a stats guy with baseball, and like running his fantasy league, and it's just like
you have a recliner.
Oh, he had a seat, dude. One time I sat.
Seemed like a recliner.
Dude, one time I sat in his seat, and just like the look he gave me, it was like ice, and I just got up and left and sat in my seat. It's like a look only a father.
It was like bombing.
Only a father when you fucked up can give.
That,
you know what I mean? Like that telling look.
This is it.
I need a hat like this, dog.
Damn,
dude,
I knew I should have got that hat.
Oh, man, that would have been good.
The close-up scenes, this is an insane shot. Look at her back there. She's acting her pussy off. And look at this guy, dude. He's my heart
I wish
breaks
the
for
director
this kid.
said that. Girl, you acting that pussy off. That's
no notes. No notes.
Hey, dude, listen.
That would be the greatest.
This little boy is acting his pussy
Roger
off.
Ebert, 4 stars.
Now close up on the skeleton in the Nazi uniform.
And then they're about to make him Hitler?
Yep.
Yeah, well, they like make an effigy with it, right?
Are they doing that to mock them?
I think it's like some kind of like mystical representation of like, it could be rooted in Russian folklore. Like this is, I don't know. But to me, it reads as some kind of like hyper specific Belarusian, like, mystical, magical practice, like colloquial, like pagan shit. You know what I mean? Or it could have just been out of the director's imagination. Either way, I think it has the effect of saying, all right, this is the moment in this young boy's life and the life of maybe the mind of all these people and maybe the Russian conscious of like building up Hitler as their international enemy.
The original title of the movie is going to be Kill Hitler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And this is the moment when they like their enemy materializes, and it gives him the strength to then go on.
Do you know what she was just feeding him? It looked like clovers or something.
Some kind of like clover, just I don't know.
Maybe ginger.
Yeah,
yeah, maybe ginger. Maybe a palate cleanser after the past 30 minutes.
Did that war upset your tum-tum?
Are you upset because you watched your papa get murdered? Are you upset because he speaks to you in your nightmares? Little baby?
I guess I'm just going to skip to the end, but would you kill Hitler as a baby? I feel like this movie asked that question, right?
I think Sean Parrott put it best. He's a comedian. He said, if I went back in time and killed Hitler as a baby, then I'd be just like in the past as a guy who killed the baby. And you're like, no, you gotta believe me. Like, this baby was gonna be really.
I'm doing a good thing.
Like, I could see the only thing that would deter me is like the fear of like some like Seinfeldian miscommunication that occurred, leading to my ultimate jailing. You know.
And the Bubble Boys testifying.
I don't know, man. I tend to think of like the arc of history as being some like static thing that shouldn't be messed with, because I kind of fundamentally believe as a person that everything happens for a reason. There's some kind of like insane like God logic to like every horrible thing that happens, and it's necessary for the next experience and for people to learn like the true horrors of humanity so they can deny it and accept the good of human nature.
That's getting harder these days.
Yeah, brother, I'm telling you. So, but I think I would know. I would not go back in time and kill Hitler, even from like an intellectual standpoint. Look at these close-ups of
11.
This is what became a meme. So this movie, like this close-up on the kid's face, like in pure horror, became like a deep internet meme. I don't know if you knew this, but and then they would like superimpose like who's the guy who did Clerks?
Oh, I was thinking of him when you were talking. I was thinking of Clerks when you were talking about hanging out in gas stations.
Yeah, weird. What's his name?
Jason Mewes.
Yeah,
yes.
Well, there's a picture of him like really high when he looks like a puppy dog, and they superimpose it over this movie cover. This is just a weird thing about this movie, a little internet tidbit. But look at that. They built an effigy of Adolf Hitler, and now each peasant in the village is going up and spitting on him, dude. Usually you got to pay for that kind of service in Belarusia. Now you go to Belarusia, you want a whole village to spit on you. Costly expense.
That kind of reminds me of Always Sunny a little bit.
It's a little bit always best enjoyed with a Percocet. Don't forget it. And if you got like a Colt 45 or like a Twisted Tea and a Percocet and Always Sunny, Tuesday afternoon. I don't do drugs or alcohol or condone it, but
if I did.
Yeah, but if you want to really appreciate art, maybe live a little.
Would you kill Hitler as a baby? what are you thinking?
Yo, clip it, Jamie. Clip that.
Honestly, all I pictured is you like trying to talk to a girl for the first time ever, and just like looking at her and saying that line.
Yeah, I'm just trying to escalate this small talk to medium talk.
Small talk, medium talk. You're a small talk. I'm a medium talk. I'm over on big boy time.
Big boy.
I'm talking big concepts. I'm an idea guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Thrive on enthusiasm.
I live on it like a parasite.
My girlfriend, by the way, we got food poisoning Saturday night, and so we were not feeling good yesterday, and that's when I chose to watch this movie, and she hates this movie. My biggest complaint is how much she bitched the whole way through this movie. Like,
I'm so sorry. Dude. If I had known you were going to watch it under those conditions, I probably still would have recommended it.
So then today I texted her when you were like, oh, man, I might have to move it. And I was like, oh, man, I texted her. I was like, we might have watched this movie for nothing. She's like, I'll kill him.
I'll kill him. Absolutely not, dude. I was too giddy about beginning to talk about this movie with somebody.
The scene, though, and I
Best enjoyed, maybe. This is why I would not kill Hitler. I think this is fundamental to the experience.
So I really did enjoy the movie. Like, I was like, from what it is and the war movie aspect, like, I love a war movie, and it really is like I told Reed, it's paced like a Western. I love Westerns. It's a fun.
It is paced like a Western.
It's not a fun war movie, but it's a war movie. It's a real war movie.
It's a real
the horrors. Is
there real. Another like so?
That's why it's in the horror genre.
For someone
they don't know where else to put it.
For someone that's not going to watch a foreign film, that's watching this, that like, what is a more like a war movie that's more mainstream that you could go, it's kind of like that?
Maybe a good jumping off point is the Kubrick.
Oh yeah, Full Metal Jacket.
Full Metal Jacket.
I think it's like that. And honestly, have you seen The Pianist?
I have seen Adrian Brody.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I have
really
seen
wrote
that.
his name.
Yeah, I get that one I get that one weirdly confused with what's the Christian Bale joint where he like never sleeps?
The Machinist.
Yeah, I get it confused with that because I think they have a similar name.
They do lose a lot of weight.
And I think they were like released around the same year, so in my memory,
that
makes sense.
And they kind of like have the same build, and they lose a lot of weight.
No,
but
you're justified.
We'll give it.
What do you think is like The Pianist about this movie?
Well, it's just like a survival movie.
Yeah,
like
pure survival.
He's not really
Yeah.
participating in the war. He's just
literally
surviving, kind of Dunkirk-ish too.
Dunkirk. He's completely at the mercy of his situation because he's a child. It's to convey the helplessness of war. It'd be like akin to like my mind goes to like some of the death scenes in Saving Private Ryan. Like if you can appreciate the power of a death scene in Saving Private Ryan and you're just like a regular like war movie guy, you can appreciate this. If you shy away from that, don't watch this movie. But you know, like the scene where the guy's like, more morphine. And then at the very last moment, he's like peaceful for like a second. Chew on that. You know what I mean? That's what this movie is for like 2 hours.
No, it is.
But Kubrick, I would say, The Pianist.
Have you ever seen Defiance?
No, I have not.
It's
Fury?
Daniel Craig and Liam Shriver.
I've seen both those.
Fury's heavy.
Oh, yeah, with Brad Pitt.
No, who was it? Liam Shriver? I like Liam Shriver.
Liam Shriver and Daniel Craig. It was before you got Bond. And it was
No way.
Yeah,
Pre-Bond Greg.
Pre-Bond. Dude.
Pre-Bond Greg.
Not that mainstream bullshit, Greg.
No, we're talking pre-Bond Greg,
And
right? This is a different Craig.
Greg?
Craig.
It's very much
Ladies
like
and gentlemen,
World War
The
II.
Weeknd. Yeah.
The Weeknd.
Hey, let's call the whole thing off, huh?
But I am glad that you chose this movie because now I can brag to all my friends that, I got my foreign movie out of the way.
You got your foreign. Hey, man, this is not for even the typical foreign movie goer, and I like a foreign flick, man. I like to tilt my nose at a layman, and I like to watch an Italian movie. That's the kind of motherfucker I am.
It's great to feel like you're better than someone else.
Man.
Oh, you don't watch Italian cinema?
Listen, if you come from where I come from,
He wants me to do Italian
I've seen
movies.
2 movies, so
yeah, I very much feel like like when like rappers make it out of the hood and they're just like, hell yeah, I like Italian clothing, hell yeah, I'll go to Fashion Week. That's how I feel about like the white trash trailer version of that, and at a much lower income bracket, like a much sillier and more pointless time to be doing it in my evolution as a person. But that's how I legitimately feel about like it feels cool to be like where I'm from and to be like, wow, I went to fucking Italy, man. And then now I like watch and my girl is like cool too, and we like watch cool movies and shit. It's like, why not enjoy it? It's a little snooty. I don't know. I'm arguing with my point right now. Have you noticed this? This is pure insanity. Sorry. Anyway, the movies. Hey,
no, it's great.
It speaks for itself.
Like I was a little hesitant to watch it just because we have a lot of movies we've been watching. It was just like, okay, this is the one with subtitles that I'm gonna have to really. But there's not that much subtitles, and it's such a. Even right here, we're watching it on mute, and it's such a visual like story.
It is. Right now we're just literally watching someone pick up paper in a field full of that's been bombed. What does it say? Make them pay for what they did.
It's saying smash the Jew's face with the stone. it says something like that.
That's crazy. I forgot that was in here, huh? I need this hat though. He kind of looks like Ron Perlman.
I am sad.
He does look like Ron Perlman.
He's giving Hellboy. Hey, that is what he's doing. Did he just say what I think he said? Don't say it out loud.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is this anti-Semitic scene.
I mean, they're
not like that. Not that's the view of the director, but like it's conveying something about anti-Semitism.
Dude, well, are we about to get the Nazis canceled?
What? I don't know. This is interesting. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if Kanye was insane. What he said was like wild. Like what the fuck? He must be like. I think everybody is like of the mind. No, whatever. Anyway, but everyone is like is like gone to. Have you ever had a mental health issue? Listen, I'll speak from experience so that I don't have to.
I was deciding if I.
It's a tough. No. It's a tough question. I have had a mental health issue, and I have had people around me go, "Hey, man, we are trying to do what is best for you. We are communicating that the only way that we know how." And then you feel this impulse to fight that really hard, like as hard as you possibly could, like a horse running away from when a horse gets spooked, you get it's like that kind of impulse. And I've only recently learned, so I speak from experience, but certainly not expertise, that it is if you accept it and surrender over to that other thing, then you look at your past behaviors and you go, whoa, I was freaking out, man. You know what I mean? And I think once you get to a certain level in your life, I don't think maybe at the level of celebrity that he has, that this is literally the only way he can process it, because maybe there isn't one single person in Kanye West's life who treats him like a human being. Isn't that crazy to think about? It's biblical, man. Like, he's living through like a biblical moment in modern pop culture, and everyone's like, is he? And we're like speculating, and it's all I can look at is just like the story and what it means for where we're at right now. That's why I sound so self-inflated.
But no, it is just relevant to the times, and like even watching this, it's like, yeah, it's so horrific. It's like it makes you go, how can Kanye say those type of things? How can anybody really genuinely feel those type of things?
Pragmatically, and that is the intelligent, correct, like ethical response for this moment, I think, right? It's the only like rational thing at a certain point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
If something becomes so extreme,
it's not like, fun to even joke about.
It defies
now.
all. Yeah, it defies all rational like logic. It's not even one where you can go, ha ha. You know, there's no like ironic take. I think Chappelle's thing was good, and that was like really fun and cool.
Yeah.
But Chappelle is still commenting on like the black experience. Like that's the genius of what he does, is that his stuff is such a service to like a particular lens or like viewpoint, which often I think for Chappelle is the black experience in America. And he just communicated something so cool, like so delicately. It's like watching Kevin Durant play. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just, it's so effortless. You know what I mean?
It's funny to me
Did
that...
you say Ja Morant?
I said Ja Morant.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, Ja, who is Ja if he's a comedian? Who's Ja if he's a comedian? Ja's got more grit than Durant. You know what I mean? He's
probably Kevin Hart.
Cat Williams.
No, that's probably better than mine.
I think you're right about that.
Cat Williams.
No, but who like maybe somebody
doing the gritty and shit, like
yeah, that is true. But I think of Cat Williams being like Allen Iverson.
Well, ja
it's the same. He's
Ja Morant's
but
kind of
who's
Allen
like
Iverson.
Who's like the Cat Williams disciple then? You know what I mean? Is there a guy that inhabits that space in stand-up comedy with any success?
Cat Williams' disciple.
He was on Atlanta. That shit was cool. Who's the disciple of Cat Williams? Kevin Hart. There's an argument for that. But just because they're short, you'd have to put them into one tiny box. But okay, so what we're seeing now is a man pulling down his pants in a field, and looks like
he doesn't finish.
He doesn't get to finish because.
Do you think he peed his pants during this, like running, chasing the cow? Like, it's a scary.
This is not in any way a film that would make me go, there's no possibility there wasn't pee play. You know what I mean? Like, I think. Didn't you tell me they like killed an animal earlier? He may have peed himself. Yeah. Nah, nobody knows if that happened. There's no way to.
That was the scene that was like.
There's no record of that. It was the Soviet Union. That's also what is cool
those
about
records.
It's also kind of what's cool about Russian
cinema. Is this the guy
There's
though?
Mystery to it.
Is this the guy though that takes him in later? Mm-hmm. And it's the same family. I mean, that just shows how sweet that guy is. I guess.
Dude, and that ultimately, I think it is a film that points towards like the good of human nature. I think that's what The Whistle is. The girl with the whistle at the end, she's still blowing the whistle. You know what I mean? Like there's hope in that sound. You know what I mean?
That's interesting. Because I felt it's almost a hopeless like type of.
That's the Russian experience.
Yeah. Well, you can just see the different.
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
When he's sitting there and he's just dumbfounded. And he's like, hide your gun. Take off your uniform. And they like hide it in the barrels of hay.
Oh, it's brilliant.
I mean, all of that stuff. I mean, that really is.
That hit? Yeah, what hit about this for you? Like, you watched, and I want to know what you guys thought about it more than I want to talk about it. It's cool as far. I love it, but.
So the scene, I want to say this, when the cow does die or whatever, and it's just zoomed in on the cow eye and the flies, like that was when my girlfriend goes, I'm done. She got up and went in the bedroom. It was like, I'm watching something else in the other room.
That makes me so happy. Dude. My girl is in so many ways going to get a kick out of the fact that your girl hated it. Like, that's going to be such a treat later. I'm like,
yeah, she was
dude, like, that's so fun.
She's not
will you tell her, I apologize. I'm sorry. I'm sure you don't watch this. Listen, I've dated many people that had a podcast, and I know there's no way you're watching this right now. But if you are, man, I'm very sorry about that. Look at this guy. Now we cut to a man a farmer covered in shit, blood, or mud, and definitely piss, weeping,
100% piss.
weeping in the grayest field you've ever seen, a field that could only exist in Soviet Russia.
You're asking what drew me in. The first explosion really is what got my attention.
The pyrotechnics were great.
But then even this too, just where they're
Interesting.
Getting some
I don't
milk.
know much about pyrotechnics in cinema. You thought the explosions were good.
I just sat there going, this was filmed in, 1985 in Russia?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Cool.
It was probably real if they're using live
I mean,
animation.
it really did. Like, you just watch the scenes when they're like the initial explosions and everything's blowing up, and they're showing all the cuts of it, and then they're blowing up the little like wood huts that they were living in.
Yeah.
It truly is like, you're just like, these are impressive like cinematography shots that they're getting at this point in time to me.
Really?
And, yeah, I was blown away.
Hell
that was
yeah.
when to me that was like what established validity. At that point, I was like, man, this isn't like maybe not validity, but it was like,
no, yes, validity is good. Yeah,
this is incredibly impressive that what they're doing,
right,
for what the time period is.
Yes, that's always gonna stick. I remember watching Terminator and feeling that way.
Yeah,
about mainly probably because my mom was standing behind me, going, "This was state of the art, bro." And I was your age, you know.
But even from a foreign standpoint, I've always heard that they're like 10 years behind us with what they're doing.
Especially at this time.
And
Soviet
I would imagine,
Russia.
so like even further, I would imagine their technology and what they were capable of doing was even so much less advanced than the United States and people making movies here that I don't know, I was kind of blown away. I mean, and it is just a fun,
I would posit, and this is totally speculative, so stop me if this sounds crazy, but the level of government involvement in every step of this makes me believe they could get funding for like decommissioned explosive, like military grade explosives and shit like that. You know what I mean? Is that an insane jump to make? But I mean, like, that's the difference when you are literally making a movie for the state.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there aren't American movies like this.
Well, I feel like they probably take more pride in trying to preserve their history.
Yeah.
Because there might not be, I don't know, it might be hard to have voices out there.
Exactly. It'd be like trying to work in like a really artistic voice on like a CIA show on NBC. You'd be like, no, dude, Jack Reacher is in the CIA. He loves the CIA. And I'm not saying that points towards anything, but you know what I mean? Like, no, Jim Halpert is in the military. You know what I mean? Like, that's the vibe here. It'd be like trying to be like, but what about January 6th? But what if the CIA is bad? And then they'd be like, what about a girl who's been mutilated blowing a whistle at the end? You know what I mean? And you're making like Saving Private Ryan.
I do love though that you find the hope in that scene.
You must. I'm a Christian, man.
Because in a way, I mean, they did succeed in surviving, but it was a nightmare.
Yeah.
What's been your experience as being a Christian doing stand up?
I've only recently embraced Christianity to the extent that I am now, but believing in God, let's say, I just think that all the shit that you eat is going somewhere, maybe, to put it concisely. Is, maybe ultimately that there is some kind of like insane logic. I was talking to my friend the other day. This is a good little anecdote that'll frame it for you. I was talking to my friend who is a stand-up, and he is very, his mind is very pragmatic, and he dissects things to a T, and that's why he's good. But I was talking about God, and he said something to the contrary of that. And then I said something to the contrary of what he said, and he conceded. And I was like, pro God, he's V God. And he conceded and went, shit. And I went, there is no greater logic. It just, you know what I mean? Like, there is the logic of God. Like, when you're like a young dude and you're like, you don't know what to believe, and you're like smart, you like run every possible algorithm, dude. I mean, I was like, it's like mushrooms. Like, it's like some like branded version of Eastern philosophy that is easy for me to consume, but I'll never actually go to yoga. It's like I'll get I got a Ram Dass tattoo. I did drugs. I did alcohol. I've looked into like esotericism and Western magic. Like, I've looked into fucking everything. And this is the only logic that holds. That was the cow with the thing on its eyes. Did you see that? That was disturbing.
Fly,
You're right.
yeah.
That's a good scene.
My girlfriend was leaving.
You know
the
what I
room.
mean, though? But when I think,
I love everything you're
you
saying.
like
Yeah.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying,
Yeah.
I just believe. I think there's something very intelligent in the act of faith, of going. Jordan Peterson said this on Lex Friedman recently. He said, "What if you just as a thought experiment, like, and I'm, whatever. Let's not mince words." But he said, if you just believed every day, if you believed that everyone was good, and you just decided to believe that every time you were like presented with the evidence to support the otherwise, what would happen? And he went, I've done this thought experiment, and I know for a fact you'll feel better, basically, So that's how I feel about stand-up. I've always just kind of had the outlook, even my dad's outlook was like, I watched my dad like survive cancer and be like a pleasant guy. That just informs the type of person you are. Yeah. And I think it inclines you towards God, because you're afraid of what most? Death, logic. And then I think it also inclines you towards just being a good person even when shit is tough.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that's why Christmas is so important to you?
Yes. It's like this, it's like taking one human emotion, which is like surrender or like faith or just like goodwill, and like putting a microscope on it and being like, we're going to do this for a month. And if you're Latino and you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, like 2 months, you know what I mean? Like 2 months out of the year. I live in South Nashville. The Latinos put their lights up way before Thanksgiving, bro. They're like November 1st, Feliz Navidad. Because that's how important it is for them to be good. That's why they're good people. That's why they rule and they're pleasant and like meek and quiet and like deferring in conversation when they're like a guest in our country. That's how they feel, like a guest. And because they're so Christian, they're like, be good. You know what I mean? They're like acting out Romans in real time.
They also want to get gifts from Santa, dog.
They low key want to get gifts from saying Santa Claus.
Yeah.
From the Santa. He's got a big old bag. You just open up a stocking and it's full of hot plates.
Oh shit!
What timestamp that racist joke and cut it out?
No.
We're still going.
Okay, good.
I'm sorry, I'm overstaying my welcome here.
No,
I do
dude,
have to leave.
seriously.
We'll edit
Listen, man, I just got back from a family holiday at home, so I'm in.
I hope we're not making you stay longer.
Yeah.
No, I apologize if my extrapolation is at times too emotional or not what you need to get.
Well, honestly, what you're saying, it made me. I've been feeling it. I just want to not overstep and say too much. But what you said made me think about. There's a saying I just recently heard where just everybody goes through pain in life, but it's your choice whether or not to suffer or not. Because it is just the mindset. Everyone,
that is, yes.
Every single day.
It's a mindset. Yes, exactly. So it's Ram Dass said you can do it as if it's a great weight on you, or you can do it as if it's all a dance. How cool is that? Mm-hmm. So I believe that since I was like 18 and
I really
mushrooms.
like that a lot.
That was like why I got this like corny ass tattoo from a Ram Dass book by a metal guy who hated my hippie guts, and had like X's on his head, and he was playing Hatebreed, and he was tattooing a flower on me, and he was just like, this fucking sucks. Like his energy was just like, I do not want to be here doing this fucking kid's dumbass tattoo.
You should have told him.
You should have told him to keep
Orange.
dancing, dog.
Keep dancing,
Start
dog.
dancing, dude.
Literally in real time, though, like the example of why I should have got the tattoo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's probably what he needed most was to draw a fucking flower. How long do you think it's been since he drew a fucking flower? That mean old tattoo guy.
Dude, just like enjoy the simplistic flowers.
Just draw a flower, dude. Shut up.
Talking about dancing, it made me think of the
dance
Taiki Waititi.
Taiki Waititi.
Yeah, that his movie with the kids.
I didn't
Jojo
even draw
Rabbit?
that.
Yeah, Jojo Rabbit.
Brilliant.
It ends with them, just dancing. Yeah.
No way. Do you think that's a direct callback or just something they both mutually arrived at because they're making the same point?
I bet he was influenced by this movie.
Yeah.
A guy that smart watching movies, you're gonna come across this.
Yeah.
I mean, we're three puds here, and we're watching it currently. A guy like that, dude.
How did you find out about this movie?
Come Down. Oh no, I was vulnerable. Yes, I heard it on Come Town. But I also got a recommendation to read Philip Roth from Come Town, and I'm shying away from the part of me that wants to say that is like cringe, and just be like, that's how good what they're doing is.
I will embarrass myself saying their name.
I just really, a lot of good recommendations.
It's hilarious when they're on like news or something, or someone's interviewing him, and they're just like, "Oh yeah, he has a podcast. You can go check out online." Like,
yes, exactly.
That's why we went with movie ruiners and not like come.
Listen, I know. I respect deeply how hard they leaned into their rebrand, which is in and of itself like part of. It's just very good. So I don't even say too much about, come town. but dude,
it's done.
But I mean, okay, listen. I will say this: whenever somebody is making something, and they're really good at making shit, even when they don't try very hard, it tends to be pretty good. You know what I mean? If you're really good.
That's what we're trying to tell our fans.
Yeah. Connor told me the other day. He said, "You get good at something, right? And then me and Connor have gotten back to a place where we're kind of watching each other at open mics. It's really like a pure experience, just like admiring each other."
Did y'all start at the same time?
Yeah. We moved in together.
I knew y'all lived together.
Yeah, we lived together. I lived in South Nashville with my aunt, and he lived with somebody else, and Matt lived with his parents. And then we all moved into East together after. We met at like an open mic at Bobby's, and then I went over to write jokes at his house. You remember doing that? Remember when you cared enough? And then I would go over to his house, and we would sit there and write jokes. And then one time somebody like came to the door with a gun, and they like shot through the house. We almost died. Connor does a joke about it. It's very real. And then it bonded us forever, dude. Now we're best friends forever because we almost died together. But
damn,
closest you'll ever get to going to war, huh?
Yeah, you started like your hair turned gray and you started looking like shit.
Yo, I can't believe they gave this kid gray hair.
Yeah, dude, and he starts looking like 11 from Stranger Things.
Dude, that's so crazy. Dude, I mean, this is to think that they're like realistically like maybe at least one person had this experience during the side of the.
I would imagine what's sad is
this would be a good experience,
for multiple people.
I wonder what the Russians call this war. World War II. You know how like every country has a different name for the war? I wonder what they call. I bet it's like this was like such a crazy moment when they took Berlin and they built fucking effigies of Hitler in the hills. Dude, I bet like in terms of like national identification, to get kicked this hard in the nuts and then they win, dude. That's the craziest part about this story is that Russia does win. That's the whistle, dude. That's why they win. Is because even when they get kicked in the fucking nuts, like Joker cold, like I'm still gonna win.
It's just funny.
That's why I fear this. Russia's cold, dude.
It's just funny rooting for Russia when that's like been the villain for so many of these American movies.
Dude, okay, so I think you do a disservice by not respecting an opponent. Like if you walked into a game versus like, okay, what sport do you like?
Basketball.
Okay. College or NBA?
NBA.
Okay, you walk into a game and you're facing Steph Curry. Are you gonna be like this fucking clown? Are you gonna have that attitude walking in? When you're balling against fucking who's a better like?
No, I'm gonna be watching him going. How's he making these like, warm-up shots?
No, it's not an accurate. Okay, whatever. Anyway, but you know what I mean though. And watching this, you go, "Oh, dude." It's like watching like the practice every day. Like you watch like videos of Steph's childhood, or like Tiger Woods is a better example. Tiger Woods. I like golf. I wanted to say Tiger Woods.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, and let's just say anybody. Let's say fucking John Daly. Okay, right? And you're about to golf against Tiger Woods. Are you gonna go look at his dumb little shirt?
He probably would. Let me get another drink,
man. But that's literally what
that's who he
that's
is.
what this whole thing with Russia is. It's like John Daly and Tiger. And I would much rather it be a situation where we're like opponent. Our kids are playing together and like I want that version of however this pans out, dude. You know, I don't want some like blood. It just you know what I mean? Because it would be like objectively Russia, United States. It would be beautiful. It would be a beautiful war. You know what I mean? Like, can you imagine the movies that would come out?
Are you saying a beautiful war?
It would be beautiful. You know what I mean? Like, can you imagine the movie they would make about the American-Russian war? We've never been enemies.
Except for in, like, all the movies.
Except in every way for the past, like, 50 years except hot warfare.
Yeah.
The tension of a lover. When you want to fuck so bad and you can't because there's other people watching at the party, and then you go, pull my fucking cock out of the mixer. Launch the nukes, baby.
I think I understand war a lot more.
Did war just get hot?
Woo! War is hot.
Maybe I will be a soldier.
That's another thing, man. Like that's even in itself a Western rationalization, because we can ultimately come to the conclusion that war is sexy.
Well, that's why this movie is attractive to me too. There's not that much heroism.
Yeah.
No one is redeemable.
You mentioned Saving Private Ryan. It does have maybe a little raw moments, but this movie, whole thing's raw, and there is a look at these heroes. Everybody's just
This is the Russian perspective. You ready for
hell.
me to blow your mind? I'm so lame. I hate making points. The child is the hero. What is heroic in the Russian context? I know. What is heroic in Russia
surviving. Yeah.
And beyond that, a pure soul affected by all the factors. Have you ever read The Idiot by Dostoevsky?
I haven't, but I'm like aware.
You ever seen The Big Lebowski?
Yeah.
A pure soul. The Big Lebowski is the idiot in Dostoevsky. Dostoevsky wrote a novel. Tell me if this doesn't sound like Lebowski. Dostoevsky wrote a novel. The concept is that a pure soul is affected by all the evil of the world. What would happen to him? He just happens to find some like historical lineage with a palace, and he goes to the palace, and they think he's a fool at first, and then they start to work with him, and everyone around him in the palace requires something of him, and it starts to corrupt his soul. It's Lebowski.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I think the Russian perspective is that the children are the heroes. Just that innocence that endures is the hero. It's an idea more than like needing one archetypical hero, which is itself a little bit Western. They're like, what idea serves Russia? This is a movie for the state.
No, that's interesting.
Yeah. Sorry,
We'll have to credit the YouTuber you
Dude, not all this is... The YouTuber was the point I made about comedy at the beginning, but I love this movie a lot. I've only seen it once.
No, I'm glad you have such a knowledgeable perspective, because it's just...
Dude, I love movies.
Me and Nick just watched it once, just about, I'm sure.
Anytime anybody asks me to do a movie podcast, I'm like, I just want to hang out and like have an excuse to like sit in a chair and talk about this shit so bad, dude. I love it.
This reminded me of Inglourious Bastards.
Yes.
When he comes in.
Tarantino's 100% seen this shit, right?
Had to have.
Yeah.
Like outside of like, I mean, because it felt him just... They're going through raiding, and he's just casually sitting there smoking a cigarette and eating
the milk.
food.
The scene at the beginning when he's like getting him milk.
Yep,
that's this shit, dude.
100%.
It's also in Fury when they eat with the women they just had sex with in that room.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Everything slows down. What's more intimate than a meal, right? Take the intimacy of somebody eating, put it around chaos, and what does that say? You know, extrapolate. That's such a good tool in movies. That two modern movies we just listed may have drawn from this. I don't know. It's a jump, but look at this. Him reaching his arm in the window to get some water. This is these people's homes.
When he just broke the glass.
When he broke the glass, too.
This is these people's homes, and there's children in there, and they're just sitting in here with Nazi soldiers watching them eat, and they're hungry and starving. It's terrifying. Look, and he's getting up. The kid, our protagonist, gets up. This is a heroic deed. You know what I mean? Look at this. This kid's a fucking hero. Look at them all sit and look at him as he passes by. He's just getting up and walking. That's it. He knows he's probably not going to escape. There's no getting out of this. You know what I mean? Look, but that was a heroic act. Just this kid walking around this house with Nazis in it, and him just choosing to, instead of sit and accept his fate, to walk around the house and realize as it's happening, like, I am still here. He's the only one who does it. None of those other kids get up. You know, that's the perspective of this movie. Pushed outside into the world of men that is raw and real, disgusting. This is how he survives, because he's outside when they start burning it down, right?
You need to get a
he knows how to get out. He knows how to get out because he's the only one who can deal with the reality of the situation. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Dude,
this is a good movie.
How many times does he shoot that Hitler poster at the end, and there is little to no damage on the poster when it shows it? I was like, dude, he shot that thing 30 times. Like, why can you still see the framework?
Because you know what they're saying to America?
You can't mess with Russia.
We're the ones who killed Hitler.
Subliminal.
Hey, totally, dude. Well, think about think about the situation between America and Russia at that point, in that year. And you think that any state media is not going to reflect something? Come on. That's what's always so cool about these, like, these Russian movies, like, it was the cultural norm to dig. And ours, it's more like subversive, you know? Like, my dad wrote this thesis about Disney movies, about how, like, all the evil characters are representations of people that we discriminate against or are enemies with. I think about that with, like, American media in general. Like, America's good about, like, subconsciously instilling you with beliefs about other places. But in Russia, they were allowed and insisted upon beating you over the fucking head with it. So it's just cool to see, like, this is the two teams. This is the way they play. It's reflected in their media. You know what I mean?
That burp really tied a bow on that.
Yeah.
You've been our second burpiest guest outside of Mark Norman.
Mark Norman.
Yeah.
You had Mark?
Yeah.
Awesome.
He burped a lot, but not you're second place. Though.
Cool. How was Mark Norman? Was he nice?
He was fun, man.
Dude, I've only met him once, and there's no way he'd ever remember me. But I met him at the green room at the Stand, and I was performing, and I was so nervous. And I talked to Mark about some, like, I forget what the conversation was, but he was super inclusive and just, like, not only that, but, like, engaged and enthusiastic. And I just appreciated that. And when I was, like, nervous as fuck, he was, like, super cool to me. So I imagine he would. It doesn't surprise me he'd come work with you guys. He was so cool.
I think it's really neat for me to hear you say that, to be honest, because I've seen you do over the last, like, couple of years. You've just done stuff that's been, like, I was curious if it felt like almost out of body experience.
Yes.
Because, like, it's
just
like
the rate,
surreal.
The rate at which it happened was crazy.
Well, yeah, I would imagine, because, like, it was like, I'm not going to say overnight, but it just seemed like all of a sudden, everywhere I looked, you were doing, like, everything.
Yeah.
like we went to that show in Huntsville, and I was like, I hope Chance is on this. Theo's here, and you were doing it. And it was like, oh, there he is.
There he is.
And so, yeah, I mean, but no, and you killed.
So there must be so many of my friends must have had that experience of just being like, holy shit, who's actually here? I had a friend who, it's really hard while it's happening. You're just kind of like doing it, and you're just like, just be cool, you know? And then you look back and you're like, wow, all those incredibly symbolic memories are like in a really short time span. That must point to something.
Yeah.
Despite imposter syndrome or whatever dumb thing you want to call it. And then, but what's really cool is when you get to bring somebody else. And like I brought my friend, he was my middle school quarterback, and they moved to Texas. We were boys, dude. And I caught up with him in Knoxville. He came to see me at the Tennessee Theater where we grew up in Tennessee. Like, I'm a Vols fan. I'm like opening for Theo in Tennessee at a theater. I bring my friend Zach backstage, and I'm just kind of like, yeah, there's room. He meets Theo. Theo's very nice. And then I'm like, here, let's go out on stage. I'm kind of like brushing past everything, and he stops me like this, and he goes, this is crazy. And I went, what? What's so crazy? And then he's like, dude, this is wild. And I was like, I like stopped and took a breath, and I was like, yeah, this is really cool.
Yeah.
And then we went out and we all sat on the stage. I insist people sit on the stage. I want to take them out and do the whole thing. I'm such a fucking host, you know? Like, I'm like my mom. I just don't feel comfortable unless I run around and everybody. And I bring him out on the stage. I sit him on a stool. His girl's like on his shoulder like this, and I'm just talking to him. And for whatever reason, we were able in that moment to talk like we were fucking. It just accelerated everything else past like any explanation. And we just talked like we were kids again.
Yeah.
Because it's like, dude, this moment is so crazy. And it, in a way, symbolically quicker explains to you where I've gone in the past few years than anything. And I see you here with your, like, beautiful wife. Like, and we're sitting on a stage. It's like, dude, we did it. It's a feeling you always want with your boys, like, cracking a Corona and looking at like, you'll make it there someday. And then it comes super quick, and you're like, oh, shit, what the fuck? And now I just have, like, all these, like, cool memories and pictures and shit. And it's like, at the end of the day, like, I'm just like a guy.
Yeah, I mean,
and I would kind of like
thankful for that.
I would kind of like to maintain that for today. I'm a guy who saw my grandmother earlier, and I did the right thing this week. You know, like, that's what life is.
Yeah.
But thank you. It is not lost on me how cool the experience is.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I feel like I got like in a very Harry Potter fashion, and then like and whipped off real quick, like so. And I kind of hit the ground a little hard, and it shook me up a little bit, and I wrote a play.
Whoa, what?
In what people are calling a manic upswing, I wrote a play. And then took a break from comedy, but in no way took a break mentally, and then finally kind of came to the place where, like, I want to do it again. I'm finding real joy in it, and especially in, like, coaching other people young who I see myself in through the process. It's great. Good stuff. Comedy's great. I love comedy.
Talking about just like your love of Christmas, your love of giving, your love of just like where you're at. I just feel like you have a real appreciation for where you're at.
Yeah.
And it just, I don't know, I'm excited to see what's next, man. Because I think whatever it is, you're going to enjoy going through that so much more.
Yeah, I suppose you've learned a little something about my perspective on things. I mean, I've sat here and talked for an hour straight. So, whatever happens, I'm kind of pumped for it, I guess, generally speaking.
I'm excited to keep watching, man.
Dude, I love you.
Yeah, congrats on all the success.
Yeah, thank you.
That was the worst high five. I couldn't quite get there.
Come on, baby. Come on. Women will never know that feeling of missing the high five and needing to do it again.
That's true.
This is our cross to bear. It was really nice to meet you.
Yeah,
thank you for the gifts.
No,
and the research. Listen, real quick. My dad was like a guy who tried to get on Jeopardy every year. I appreciate research, if that makes sense. Yeah. I think it's cool. Thank you so much. I'm sorry if I didn't talk about the movie enough. It's an experience unto itself.
You have any closing words? Any?
God, what a scene to end on.
I need to give leave some Zodiac clue. Yeah. Look within yourself. Okay. and you look within yourself and you will find it. Watch, come and see. All right.
But do it Russian.
Look within yourself. Come and see.
JS, man, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for watching. I'm sorry to your girlfriend for putting us through this gritty Russian war movie. Sir. And I'm glad you guys watched it. And I'm glad we got to talk about it.
It was a blast.
Thank you. Thank you for everything. Thank you for the gifts. I can really take these home.
Favorite Christmas movie? Wrap it up.
Oh, yeah. Favorite Christmas movie of all time? Elf.
Elf.
Nice. Will Ferrell era. Nothing holds a flame. All right.
There we go. You heard it here first, guys.
Merry Christmas. And a Happy New Year. Outling sign. You can turn shit off. I'm playing this out, Johnny.
Watching movies till we die.
Reed does a pretty good Connor impression.
No.
I wouldn't want to do it in front of you, though. I don't know if I could do it.
Dude, he kind of does this, and his knees
Hi,
going.
It's me, Connor Larson.
That does sound like him. He does say that. That is something.
I know it. I've been watching a lot of things.
Dude, that's something he would say.
There's not like a lot of impressions I've thrown to Reed for, but that was one that's like, all right, bro.
Throw to Reed. You're in the control group booth. Okay, now throw to Reed. And camera 3, and we got it.